We're splendid.
Once I get over it, I'll.
Okay.
He has to soak it in.
All right, welcome. Good to see everybody. Sorry we're a little late. Obviously, it's a tough but an important day in the National Football League. I think certainly the toughest meeting that you have for 31 teams in this league is the last meeting. You know, there's one team that gets to have a joyous last meeting. And but some good things were said. We got some great men, I think, on this team and on this coaching staff. Had a chance to share some things back and forth with a lot of things that are going on. And Ray got up and said some things, you know, in his way, and he's amazing in every way. Just said some great things and put some things in perspective, which I think we all appreciated. I know I did. And I had a chance to share with some thoughts on where we've been and where we're going. And I think our guys get it, you know, and they walk out of there with their head held high, as it should be.
When it comes to the off-season, do you feel, I wouldn't say paralyzed is the right word, but a bit hamstrung with everything that's looming over the league right now as far as wanting to improve the team as quickly as possible? Do you feel like you're going to be hamstrung a bit?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. It's very uncertain, Joe. You know, it's I'm not sure how it's going to all work in some ways, but you know, there are some rules in place. There is a process in place for dealing with all those things. We'll have a process in terms of how we go about evaluating our players, how we go about looking at our free agent situation. And I think I can say with a lot of confidence, we're going to try to get as many of these guys back as we possibly can, you know, because we like our players. And you know, the interesting thing is talking to the guys today, you know, all the guys I talk to, and I think it's you know, everybody's got their own situation, but for the vast majority of guys, they really, really want to be here. They really want to be a part of this team. I think they know, you know, where we're going. They understand how great this organization is. I think they understand what we stand for as a football team, and they want to be a part of it. And so, you know, I come out of some of these meetings really encouraged.
You talk about bringing a lot. You want to bring a lot of the players back. One issue, of course, is the coaching staff. Do you expect to retain your coaching staff? And a lot of people have questions about, you know, specifically Cam Cameron.
Well, you know, I really like our coaching staff. You know, I think we have a great coaching staff, and top to bottom, and that includes all three coordinators, includes every one of our position coaches. There's not a guy that I'm disappointed in. You know, I mean, we're all going to look in the off season as part of our process and see, okay, what can we do better? You know, how can we be a better head coach? How can we be better coordinators? How can we be better assistants? What scheme can we build next year that stays ahead of our rivals and, you know, corrects some whatever issues we had this year? And you know, that's an ebb and flow because things change all the time. But I like our guys. You know, you asked about Cam specifically. Cam Cameron's our offensive coordinator, and that's how we're going forward. And we're going to go to work.
Have you had a chance to talk with Ed Reed about his future? 1 year ago at this time, he was skeptical. We never got a chance to speak to him after the game, Coach. What do you believe about Ed's future and what he was able to contribute playing through the pain he did? Well,
I'm very, very impressed and proud of Ed Reed. Impressed with and proud of Ed Reed. Always have been, but even more so this year than ever, as you know, Jerry. But you know, I've seen him say publicly where he plans on playing for as long as he can, and he's told me, you know, I think, you know, I don't think he'd mind me saying this. He wants to play football, you know, and you know, Ed's got a chance this offseason, I think, to be healthier than he's ever been going into a season, because I don't think he has any major, that I'm aware of right now, any major injuries. He's got some things he's got to work through, and I think he's going to have a full year of off-season conditioning, and he's really excited about that. I don't want to speak for him. He'll have to tell you all that, but I think Ed's going to have a great year next year.
John, to follow up on Cam, when you make your evaluation, you look at how the offense went this year. What are your thoughts? What gives you the confidence that the offense can take that next step, and in him, that he can be the guy to lead the offense?
I mean, I know all of our coaches. You know, I know Cam's a tremendous coach, and I know what kind of man he is. You know, and I know he's a humble guy, and he you know, like all of our guys, you look hard at yourself first, and then you make plans to try to get better. So, you know, he's the same guy that was the offensive coordinator 3 years ago, and everybody said we passed up our expectations, and even last year. So, yeah, we had a tough year statistically, but we did win a lot of football games with that offense. But there are things we can do a lot better, and we will go to work on those things. So, we're going to be okay.
John, is there one thing, it may be too early for you to answer this, but is there one thing with regard to the Steelers, knowing that you have to play them twice a year at least, that is there one tangible thing you're missing against them that you try to add in the offseason?
Well, I think that's worth looking at, and we'll have to go through a process to determine that for sure, Drew, before I'd say specifically. I mean, I've got some ideas, you know. in terms of how we play them, but I think we play them very well. We didn't statistically play them very well on one side of the ball in this game. We had, you know, a bad third quarter, but you can't turn the ball over. And I think the key with the Steelers is they do a great job of forcing errors and by taking advantage of those forced errors. And you can't give them the game. And when we've won, we haven't done that, and when we've lost, we've basically done that. I can't say that they've outplayed us dramatically in any game, and I think we've outplayed them most of the time we've played them. Yet we've won 2 out of 8 because you know, we've allowed them to make the plays that have turned the game. And we're going to have to find a way to get that solved.
John, some of your players earlier today said that Saturday's loss is one of the hardest in their careers, whether they've been playing 2 years or 10 years. Would you echo that statement?
Yeah. You know, and you know, I think the fact that it's the last game of the season, I felt that way about the last Steelers game. Like I said that, you know, and, this one probably even more so. You know, I felt like we should have won this one, felt like we should have won the last one, but we didn't. So we got to find a way to win these games, and you know, we need to win this division, and that's something that we got to find a way to do.
John, go back to your prior answer before that question about how you play the Steelers. Is that an intangible quality that you're talking about that's a difference between the teams? You know, with the fact that, I mean, is that something that you can manage, or is it just something, what is it?
I think I think it has to do with the way they're built, and they've got some veteran guys that have been doing that for a long time. You know, we've got some of that. You know, if you look at a lot of the games we've won, it's been Ed Reed and Ray Lewis making those kind of plays. I think we'll continue to build that on the offensive side. They've probably got a little more on both sides of the ball right now. I mean, their defense, they've got 2 outside linebackers and a safety that just come up with plays. And they've got a quarterback that creates plays. And I think that's where we're going. You know, that's what we're trying to build. We'll get there.
John, now that the season's over, are you looking forward to getting your contract situation addressed and solidified?
I'm looking forward to a lot of things in the offseason, you know, and I'm excited. I'm excited about being here. You know, I really am grateful and appreciative to be the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens and to be associated with Baltimore football, you know, and now 3 years here, kind of soaking this in and being a part of this fan base is it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. You know, and I love the Baltimore Raven fans, you know. And we're reaching out trying to get more, Jerry. You know, we're trying to take control of this whole area. You know, we'll take over Washington, D.C. while we're at it, and head up into Pennsylvania and grab all those fans and over to West Virginia and Virginia. Let's you know, come on, be a Baltimore Raven fan, because you know, this is an exciting organization and an exciting football team. We stand for, you know, as a class, character, you know, men of integrity, all those things that you guys want to make fun of me about. You know, it's kind of real. It really is. And I think people out there see that. You know, and I think they want to be associated with this organization. So, you know, I can tell you I sure do. And I'm grateful to be here. Hopefully that can continue.
John, have you sensed how disappointed the community was or is over this loss and over the last, because you had a day kind of in between as a buffer. Have you sensed how disappointed everybody is?
Yeah, I really have, Drew. And I feel the same way, and I know our players do. This was a tough meeting, you know, and you could see it in their eyes. This was tough. Our guys are disappointed, you know, frustrated. You know, it was such a great opportunity, and we feel like we're good enough. We're good enough. You know, I was in here this morning, you know, before 4 because I couldn't sleep, and just going through the tape and watching and studying. I was in here yesterday, going through the tape and studying it again, and I didn't really see the 2 games because I was here, and I think our fans need to know how important it is to everybody in this building. You know, we're really disappointed. We know we had it right in the palm of our hand. You know, and all we had to do was just do what we were capable of doing. You know, but we didn't. And can't get that back.
John, you talked about wanting to re-sign as many of the guys that are free agents as you can. With that said, you have a number of free agents, unrestricted guys on this team. Do you feel like there's a chance that this locker room could look significantly different next year?
Well, there's always a chance it could, Dan, but I don't think it will. You know, I think these guys want to be here. I think Ozzie and Dick and Steve are committed to you know, bring as many of them back as we can, and I think we have the means to do it. You know, if you look at, we don't know what the salary cap's going to be exactly, but you know, nobody does a better job than Dick Cass and Ozzie Newsome of putting those numbers together. So, you know, I'm very confident that we can make it look very simple.
In terms of the other coaches, do you expect all of them back? And in terms of Jim Songhorn and guys like that, do you expect those guys back as well?
Yeah, you know, it's I can't speak for those guys so much, Aaron. You know, I'm hopeful, you know, that they will be back. But you know, guys get opportunities and career things like that. You never want to hold people back from for opportunities. We'll just have to see how that goes. Kind of hard to see down the road too far.
John, if you could make one assessment of Joe, good, I guess, a thing that he did this year that, you know, that was new, that was improved, and one thing maybe he still needs to work on, what would that be?
Well, it's so hard because it's so you know, it's game to game, you know, week to week. But I think where Joe's going is I think he's going to the place where he's going to be in games like that and take those games over. You know, I'm very confident that that's where he's going to go. And here's a guy in his third year, and there are many plays and many throws and many looks and things like that that he's going to look at that tape, even all through the season, and go, gosh, I know I can do that so much better. And it just doesn't happen overnight. You know, I think it's a process, but you know, I think, you know, in this league, if you want to win these games and you want to take it to that level, you got to play great defense, and you got to make plays on offense. And Joe's going to be able to do that.
John, are you disappointed you won't be heading to Hawaii with your coaching staff?
Nah, our guys, that would have been great. You know, the Pro Bowl's great, but that was kind of out of our hands. I'd rather be heading to Dallas with the coaching staff and the players.
No, you didn't watch the games on Sunday. I guess you heard the rumor the Jets won the game, though, and that means, does it make it sting even more, the fact that the AFC Championship could have been here, John?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's we'd have loved to have, well, we talked about it, you know, the opportunity to host, you know, that championship game was something our guys, you know, had talked about, we wanted to try to get done. And we weren't able to all pull our end of it. So I feel bad for our players, coaches, fans, especially the fans. That would have been a great, great thing, you know. You need to make that happen.
What are you looking for from Sergio, both in terms of his growth physically as well as emotionally and mentally?
Well, first of all, I think it's healing probably, Edward, you know, that the neurologist reports and those kind of things, making sure that's safe for him to play. From what I hear, there's a possibility of that. You know, he's doing very, very well. Probably making progress faster than anticipated. Then it's just going to be a football growth thing and obviously a maturity, that type of thing. But we're going to give him every opportunity to do that, and you know, go through the spring here and see how he progresses. So, you know, I can't say it's high hopes because he's coming back from such a tough spot, but I think he's got a chance.
So even with people we're talking about because of his off-field incident, you guys are still committed to trying to develop him as a player? Yeah, you know, I think, you know, at some point in time, you know, there's a balance to all these things. There's nothing for us to gain by not giving him an opportunity to become a player. We've got a lot invested in him right now. I think he understands what he needs to do. We will see based on what he does, but he's a good person. He's got a good heart and wants to do the right thing. And he's got a chance to be a very good player. So we'll do everything we can to see if we can make that happen.
Coach, two players that could retire, Matt Burke and Derek Mason. Can you imagine the offense without those two guys?
What was the first part of the question?
Derek Mason and Matt Burke could potentially retire.
Okay.
What's the
have they said something about that? No, not yet. They have?
Yeah.
Possibly?
Possibly.
Okay. I think probably when guys, you talked about Matt Burke and Derek Mason retiring, I'm sure, you know, when they get to this stage, you guys, you know, they always got to think about that every year. I'll keep my fingers crossed if they don't. You know, I think we're a better team with both those two guys, and my guess is they have got a couple of years left. You know, be a family decision for them probably, but those are staples of our team right now. We can replace everybody, you know, from the owner through the coach, through the, you know, vice president, senior vice president of public relations. You know, we're all replaceable, and you know, we would obviously move on if anybody decided not to play anymore. But I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed for those two guys.
John, no veteran player than today, you don't have to name him, but no veteran player said to you in your meeting today, I think I'm going to call it a day.
No. No one said anything to me.
Laurent McClain said he doubted he would return. In explaining that, he said that he thought just that, you know, he wasn't used as much. He wants to be more involved. He said if he did come back, he would want to be more involved. Just your thoughts on where Laurent could line up with you guys and just your expectations.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame him. You know, I think everybody wants to play and contribute, and we've seen it with all our guys. I wouldn't want a running back that doesn't want the ball. You know, I wouldn't want a running back that doesn't want to block, or any player for that matter. I think they all feel that way, and Laurent's willing to do both. I think there's a chance, to a good chance, he can be back. It probably depends on the market a little bit, but I could see a role for Laurent where he, you know, carries the ball more. As we go forward, just have to see how that goes.
John, can you talk about the season that Terrell Suggs had coming back off of last year, especially the last few weeks? It looked like he was playing at maybe the highest level he's ever played in his entire career, and just coming off his disappointing year last year, for him to put in the work this offseason and to play this well down the stretch for you guys.
Right, yeah. I mean, Terrell Suggs is one of the premier defensive players in the National Football League, and I know that all of us out here, coaches, the organization, the fans, we're really, hoping that would happen, but Terrell knew it was going to happen, and I think our coaches believed it was going to happen. He made it happen this year. He's a tremendous pass rusher. He's great against the run. He's a complete player on defense. And the thing that I'm really grateful for is the fact that he's really becoming a leader on defense. He is really growing into that role, and he was a big part of the success of our defense from a leadership perspective.